I 35M, come from a typical loud Italian-American family in New Jersey. Before I dive into this mess, you need some background. Fair warning, this is going to be long, and I'm still pretty heated typing this out during my lunch break. Growing up, it was me, my older sister Lucia, 38F, and our parents Frank and Maria, both 65, in a cramped 3-bedroom house that always smelled like garlic and mom's sauce. Lucia was always the golden child. Mom and Dad basically treated her like she was God's gift to Italian Americans. She was the pretty one, the smart one, the one who was going places. Me? I was just the kid who was good with his hands and ended up in construction. Don't get me wrong, I make decent money running crews now, enough to live comfortably and maybe take one vacation a year if I'm lucky. But to Lucia, that made me the family disappointment. She never missed a chance to remind me how I settled for a blue-collar life while she went after her big dreams. Thing is, those big dreams mostly involved marrying rich and living the fancy life. She actually managed it too for a while. Met this guy Giuseppe, 42M, at some fancy wine tasting event. She used to crash those pretending to be more important than she was. Guy had money, came from a good Italian family, the whole 9 yards. Mom and Dad were over the moon, their precious princess finally getting the life they thought she deserved. They had this huge wedding that Dad basically emptied his savings for, because heaven forbid Lucia didn't get everything she wanted. I remember standing there in my rented tux, watching her marry this poor sucker and thinking, well, at least she'll be someone else's problem now. Boy, was I wrong. Fast forward 5 years, and everything went to hell. Giuseppe filed for divorce out of nowhere. Well, not really nowhere, I had my suspicions. See, there was this personal trainer at her gym she kept talking about, always texting, always making excuses to spend extra time there. I never said anything because, you know how Italian families are about that stuff, but pretty sure Giuseppe caught her doing more than just Pilates, if you know what I mean. The divorce was ugly, like throwing plates in restaurants ugly. Yeah. She actually did that, made the local paper and everything. Giuseppe had a good lawyer and an ironclad prenup, smart guy. Lucia got barely anything except some monthly support for their daughter Gianna, 9F. That's when the real fun started. Lucia was a mess, had no real job skills because she'd been playing trophy wife for years. She and Gianna needed a place to stay and money to live on. Now, in a normal family, the parents would step in, help their daughter get back on her feet, right? Nope. Mom and Dad suddenly decided this was their moment to enjoy their golden years. They just retired and were planning all these trips to Italy to reconnect with their roots, or whatever. They basically told Lucia they couldn't help because they needed to find themselves, or some BS like that. Remember that emptied savings from the wedding? Yeah. Apparently that was their one contribution to her adult life. So guess who got voluntold to step up? Yep, your boy Vincent, because I'm the one with the steady job and no responsibilities. Their words, apparently being single means I've got nothing better to do than bankroll my sister. At first, it was just supposed to be temporary. Vince, just help with groceries for a few months. Vince, Gianna needs new school supplies. Vince, you know how it goes. Before I knew it, I was paying her rent, $1,600 a month for a decent place because God forbid Lucia live in a regular apartment, utilities, grocery bills, plus extras for Gianna. Kid needed a laptop for school? Uncle Vincent's got it. Dance classes? Uncle Vincent will cover it. Birthday parties? You guessed it. I kept telling myself it was for Gianna. Kid's awesome, smart, sweet, nothing like her mother. Not her fault her mom's a train wreck, right? Plus, in Italian families, you're supposed to help family no matter what. Mom drilled that into our heads since we were kids, family first, always. Though funny how that only seemed to apply to helping Lucia, not me. This went on for 5 years. 5 years of watching my savings disappear. 5 years of skipping my own vacations because Lucia needs help with Gianna's summer camp. 5 years of Lucia looking down her nose at me while living off my money. The worst part? Lucia acted like she was doing me a favor by letting me help, like she was giving me a purpose in life or something. She'd make these little comments at our mandatory Sunday dinners about how sweet it was that I was so invested in them, always with this tone like she was talking about a kid's lemonade stand. So about a year ago, Lucia finally landed a decent job, like actually decent, some HR position at a pharmaceutical company. Benefits, salary, the whole package. Think it was around $65,000 a year. Not exactly rolling in cash, but way better than the random, consulting work she claimed to be doing before. Spoiler, she wasn't actually consulting anyone. I figured this was it, my chance to slowly back off from being her personal ATM, told her I'd keep helping for a few months while she got settled in the new job. You know, be a good brother and all that, make the transition smooth for Gianna's sake. That's when things got weird. First, it was small stuff, Lucia showing up to Sunday dinner wearing designer shoes, then a fancy new phone, then a whole new wardrobe because apparently her old clothes weren't professional enough for her new job. Whatever, right? Maybe she got a signing bonus or something. But it kept escalating. Every week she'd roll up to mom and dad's house with some new expensive thing, fancy handbags, jewelry, even talked about joining this super expensive gym because her old one didn't have the right atmosphere. Meanwhile, I'm still paying her rent and utilities because I needed just a little more time to build up her savings. Quick side note, our Sunday dinners are like this sacred thing in our family. Miss one, and mom acts like you committed a crime against humanity itself. So every week, I had to sit there and watch this circus, Lucia showing off her new stuff, mom and dad beaming at their precious princess, getting back on her feet, and me silently calculating how much of my money was going into her rent versus her shopping sprees. Only Aunt Carmela, 64F, seemed to notice something was off. She'd give me these looks across the table like she could tell I was about to lose it. Thank God for her, by the way, only sane person in our family besides me. Then came the Sunday that made me snap. We're all sitting around the table, me, Lucia, Gianna, mom, dad, and Aunt Carmela. Mom made her famous lasagna, which Lucia always complains has too many calories now. Everything's normal, right? Lucia's bragging about some work thing, dad's talking about their upcoming trip to Sicily, Gianna's playing with her phone under the table. Then Lucia drops this bomb, oh, I'm thinking of getting this gorgeous Gucci bag I saw. It's only $2,500, and it would be perfect for client meetings. I almost choked on my wine. $2,500 for a freaking purse while I'm still covering her $1,600 rent? I tried keeping calm, really did. Asked her real casual like, that's a lot for a purse when you're still getting help with bills, don't you think? Her response. Man, I can still hear it in my head. She does this little laugh, like I'm some stupid kid, and says, don't be cheap, Vincent. A professional needs to look professional. Cheap. She called me cheap. Me, who hadn't bought new work boots in 2 years because her rent ate my budget. Me, who skipped my best friend's wedding in Vegas because she needed money for Gianna's summer camp. Me, who hadn't been on a real date in months because every spare dollar went to her emergencies. The worst part wasn't even her saying it was everyone else's reaction. Mom and dad suddenly got super interested in their plates, Gianna looked uncomfortable, poor kid's used to her mom's BS by now. Only Aunt Carmela seemed ready to say something, but I beat her to it. Then Friday night, I get this call from my accountant. He tells me to check my credit report right now. Apparently, my sister used my information to open new bank accounts. My hands were shaking so bad I had to type my password 3 times. What I saw, guys, I nearly threw up. There were 4 new credit cards opened in my name over the last 6 months. 4. All maxed out. We're talking thousands of dollars in charges to stores I'd never even heard of, Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom, some fancy boutiques in the city, even airline tickets to Miami. Guess that explains her work trip last month. The total damage? $23,400. Let that sink in. $23,400. That's almost what I had managed to save for a down payment on a house. All gone because my sister decided to play identity theft. I'm not proud of what happened next, but I completely lost it. Threw my phone across the room, thank God for good cases, punched a wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, real smart move, my hand still hurts, and then just sat on my kitchen floor having what felt like a panic attack. Called Aunt Carmela because she's the only one with any sense in this family. It's like 11 p.m. at this point, but she picks up on the second ring. When I tell her what Lucia did, she starts cursing in Italian, like, the kind of words Nana would have washed our mouths out with soap for. You need to call the police, she says. But here's the thing, Lucia has Gianna. If I press charges, what happens to my niece? She's the only innocent one in this mess. Spent the whole night going through the charges. Designer clothes, spa treatments, fancy restaurants. This witch was living the high life on my credit while I was eating ramen to save money. There were even charges for Gianna's private school tuition, which explains why Lucia suddenly stopped asking me for school expenses. The next morning, running on like 2 hours of sleep and enough espresso to kill a horse, I called a lawyer. Guy specializes in identity theft cases. Cost me $400 for the consultation, but worth every penny. Here's the fun part, Lucia didn't even try to hide her tracks. Every single purchase was delivered to her address. She used her own phone number and email on the accounts. The lawyer said it was one of the most clear-cut cases of identity theft he'd seen. With this evidence, he says she's looking at serious charges. But there's always a but, since she's family, maybe we try negotiating first. He suggests sending her a formal letter demanding full repayment before we go the criminal route. Gives her one chance to fix this before I ruin her life. More than she deserves, but I think about Gianna and agree. Update 1, it's been a tense week since I discovered my sister's identity theft. Called Lucia this morning, my hands shaking from rage rather than panic this time. Hey, little brother, she answers, all cheerful like nothing's wrong. I cut her off before she could launch into one of her usual manipulative monologues. Spent the day sending everything, credit reports, charges, delivery confirmations, to my lawyer as a backup. Had to take the day off work because dealing with this mess became a full-time job. Credit card companies want police reports, banks want affidavits, everybody wants forms filled out in triplicate. Aunt Carmela brought me lunch, homemade meatball sub, Italian comfort food at its finest. She sat with me while I was on hold with yet another fraud department. You know she's going to run to your parents, she says. Let her. I'm done protecting her. A week goes by. I'm checking my accounts obsessively, jumping every time my phone rings. Lucia tried calling from different numbers, but I blocked them all. Mom left me about 47 voicemails, didn't listen to them. Learned that lesson after the great Christmas fight of 2019. Then exactly 1 week later, I get this email from my credit card company. All the accounts have been paid in full. I'm sitting there staring at my phone like I'm seeing things. Had to read the email like 5 times, called the company to verify. Yep, all paid off, every last cent. I should have felt relieved, right? But something felt off. Lucia working as an HR rep at some pharma company, no way she had that kind of cash lying around. Aunt Carmela calls me that afternoon. You'll never believe what your mother just told me. Turns out Mom and Dad had drained their retirement savings to pay off Lucia's debt. Their dream trip to Sicily fund? Gone. The money they'd been saving for their 40th anniversary cruise? Poof. All of it went to paying off what Lucia stole from me. And guess whose fault that is according to them? If you said mine, congratulations, you understand Italian family logic. The next morning my phone rings. It's Mom. Haven't heard her actual voice in weeks, so I answer like an idiot. Are you happy now? She screams. Pretty sure my neighbors 3 doors down heard her. We had to give Lucia our savings, our retirement money, all because you had to be dramatic about a few credit cards. I almost choke. A few credit cards? Mom, she committed identity theft. She's your sister, family handles things in the family. But no, you had to threaten her with lawyers and police like she's some criminal. I lost it. Handle it like family? Like you and Dad handled it when she needed help? Oh wait, you were too busy enjoying your golden years to help your own daughter. But I helped her for 5 years. I helped her, and how did she thank me? By stealing my identity. You didn't have to threaten her, Mom sniffs. We could have worked something out. Like what? Another 5 years of me paying her bills while she shops at Saks? No thanks. You're not the son I raised, she says in that quiet, disappointed voice that used to destroy me as a kid. The son I raised would never turn his back on family. And I'm not the son you raised, I shot back. I'm better. I'm the son who finally stopped letting his family treat him like a doormat. 10 minutes later, my phone starts blowing up with messages from random relatives. Apparently, Mom's been telling everyone how I forced them to spend their retirement money, how I abandoned my sister and niece, how I threatened poor Lucia with jail. The messages were wild. How could you do this to your parents? Your poor mother is crying. What kind of monster threatens his own sister? Gianna is traumatized. That one was rich, Gianna was at school and didn't even know what was happening. Then Lucia starts posting on Facebook about how family should stand together in hard times, with some BS quote about forgiveness. All our relatives eating it up in the comments, telling her how strong she is. I had to shut down my social media. But the real kick in the teeth? Lucia moves in with Mom and Dad that weekend. Of course, posts pictures of their family dinners with captions about true family sticking together. Even got Gianna to pose for these staged photos looking all sad, talking about how much she misses Uncle Vincent. Aunt Carmela sends me screenshots because I've blocked everyone else. She's playing them like a fiddle, she texts. And they're letting her. Update 2, Lucia pulled her master stroke today. Got Gianna to call me after school. I always answer for Gianna, so when her name popped up on my caller ID, I picked up immediately. Uncle Vincent? Her voice was small. Are you mad at me? My heart just breaks. No honey, never at you. Then why won't you come to dinner anymore? Mom says it's because you're angry at us. I had to grip my counter to stay calm. Using her own kid as a weapon, that's low even for Lucia. Gianna, listen to me. You didn't do anything wrong. This is adult stuff between me and your mom. I love you, and that's never going to change. She sniffles. Mom says you don't love us anymore because you won't help us. That's when I hear Lucia in the background, encouraging Gianna to tell me how sad she is, how much she misses me. I've never wanted to reach through a phone and strangle someone so bad in my life. After that stunt with making Gianna call me, I was ready to just wash my hands of the whole family except Aunt Carmela, she's a saint. But then I get this text from Gianna's school. See, I'm still on her emergency contact list, so I get all the school announcements. They're doing this winter play, The Wizard of Oz. Gianna is playing Dorothy. She'd been practicing for months, way before all this drama started. Being Dorothy was like her dream role. I remembered her practicing, somewhere over the rainbow, in my car when I used to drive her to dance class. The text had a link to buy tickets. I stared at it for like an hour, debating. Lucia would be there, Mom and Dad too, probably drama waiting to happen. But it's Gianna. Aunt Carmela calls while I'm still thinking about it. You're going to that play, Carmela says before I can even say hello. I don't care if the Pope himself is there. That little girl needs someone in her corner who isn't playing games. I'll go with you. So I buy 2 tickets. Don't tell anyone I'm coming. Figure I'll slip in the back, watch Gianna shine, then leave before Lucia can start anything. Day of the play, I show up with Aunt Carmela. Got Gianna these little yellow roses, her favorite color, plus they kind of match the yellow brick road theme. We get there early, find seats near the back. Gianna was amazing, brought tears to my eyes amazing. She spots me in the audience during Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and her whole face lights up. Worth every second of drama just for that smile. After the play, all the parents and family are gathering in the gym for this little reception thing. I'm planning to just leave the flowers with the teacher to give to Gianna, but then I hear Uncle Vincent, and here comes Gianna running full speed, still in her Dorothy costume. She crashes into me with this huge hug. I hand her the roses and she's beaming. You came. You really came. Then I hear it. That fake sweet voice that makes my skin crawl. Well, look who decided to show up. Lucia is standing there in some designer outfit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She's got this smug look on her face like she's won something. Really, Vincent? Flowers? Are you trying to buy her love now? I ignore her, focus on Gianna. You were amazing up there, kiddo. I'm so proud of you. But Lucia's not done. She crosses her arms, raises her voice so other parents can hear. You know, it's funny how you can afford flowers but couldn't find it in your heart to keep helping your family. People are starting to look. Gianna's smile is fading. Aunt Carmela steps forward, but I put my hand on her arm. Are you seriously doing this? I ask Lucia quietly. Here. Now. Why not? She shoots back. You've already humiliated me in front of everyone, might as well make it a full set. I start to walk away, trying to keep it civil, but then she says something that stops me cold. Isabella deserves better. She deserves an uncle who actually cares about her, not someone who uses her to make himself feel better. Update 3, the day after the school play disaster, I get this call from Gianna. She's using her friend Lisa's phone because Lucia took her phone away after the play. She's crying, and not the fake crying her mom taught her, like real, heavy sobs that make my heart hurt. I hate it here, she tells me. Mom and Nana are always fighting about money, and they're always talking about you, and I just want everything to go back to normal. Turns out Lucia's been making everyone miserable at my parents' house, treating it like a hotel, leaving messes everywhere, staying out late. The Golden Child act lasted about 2 weeks before her real personality came out. Can I come stay with you? Gianna asks, just for a little while? Man, my heart breaks. You know I can't do that, kiddo. But listen, you can always call me. I don't care what your mom says. Then she drops a bombshell. I heard mom talking to her friend about the credit cards. She said she only did it because you were being stingy with the family money. But that's not true, is it? You helped us for years. Kids, 9 going on 30, I swear. Too smart for her own good. Gianna, I say carefully, sometimes adults make really big mistakes. But none of this is your fault. You understand that, right? After we hang up, I call Aunt Carmela. We come up with a plan. She starts visiting my parents' house more often, specifically when Gianna is there. Takes her to Sunday school, teaches her to make proper sauce. Lucia still buys the jar stuff, practically a crime in our family. What Lucia doesn't know is that Aunt Carmela's got eyes and ears everywhere in our community. Every time Lucia goes out spending money she doesn't have, every time she dumps Gianna with my parents to go networking, Carmela hears about it. One Sunday, Lucia tries to stop Carmela from taking Gianna to church. Big mistake. Carmela just looks at her and says, real quiet, you want me to tell Father Anthony what really happened with those credit cards? Suddenly, Lucia got real cooperative. Pop called me last week, first time in months. Not to guilt trip me, but to ask for advice. She's treating our house like a hotel, he says, sounding tired. Comes and goes at all hours, never helps with anything. Your mother's exhausted. He pauses, then drops the real bomb, maybe we've been enabling her too long. They're giving her 2 months to find a job and her own place. Mom's not happy about it, but even she's starting to see the light, especially after finding out Lucia somehow got hold of her credit card and maxed it out.
Yeah.
She hasn't learned. The family dynamics are shifting. Those relatives who were blowing up my phone about abandoning family? They've gone real quiet since Lucia started hitting them up for loans. Funny how a family first matters less when it's their money on the line. Meanwhile, I've been focusing on being there for Gianna in ways that actually matter. We do video calls 3 times a week, I help her with math homework, kid's brilliant at it, and she tells me about school. Sent her this chemistry set she wanted because she's getting really into science. Lucia tried to take credit for it, but Gianna shut that down quick. Mom, Uncle Vincent's name is literally on the gift receipt. Last week, Gianna made the honor roll. Straight A's. She called me first, not her mom, not my parents, me. I did it the right way, she says. No shortcuts, no excuses. Aunt Carmela says she reminds her of me at that age. Strong but kind, she says, like someone else I know. As for me? I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. Finally started saving for that house again. The construction business is going well. Turns out when you're not bankrolling someone else's shopping addiction, you can actually invest in your own future. Even started dating again, met this great woman who runs her own bakery. Last Sunday, I went to church for the first time since everything happened. Found mom there lighting a candle for Nana. We didn't say much, just stood there together for a while. As we were leaving, she touches my arm and says, "Your Nana would be proud of you, you know." She never let anyone take advantage of her either. Gianna sent me a card yesterday, drew a picture of us on the front, her in her Dorothy costume, me giving her the yellow roses. Inside she wrote, "Thank you for always believing in me. I'll always remember what you said. I'm strong."
Yeah.
I cried a little. Sue me. And here's something I never expected, my construction crews are getting more contracts than ever. Word got around about how I handled the whole situation, and apparently, people respect someone who stands up for what's right, even when it's hard. 3 of my biggest clients specifically mentioned they chose us because they heard I run my business with the same integrity I handle my personal life. Aunt Carmela jokes that I should write a book, How to Survive Italian Family Drama Without Joining the Witness Protection Program. She's still playing matchmaker with the baker, but honestly? It's nice having someone in my life who understands the value of hard work and doesn't expect handouts. The best part? Gianna's teacher told me she used me as the subject for her My Hero essay at school. Not some superhero, not some celebrity, just her uncle who builds things and taught her that being honest matters more than being liked. When Lucia found out, she was furious. But Gianna just stood her ground and said, "It's my essay, and Uncle Vincent is my hero. That's worth more than all the money in the world." Look, I don't know if my family will ever be what it was before all this. Maybe it shouldn't be. The truth has a way of coming out, and sometimes it takes losing what you thought was family to find out who your real family is. For now, I'm focusing on being the kind of person Gianna can look up to, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Thanks everyone for the overwhelming support. Your comments about family dynamics and setting boundaries really helped validate my decisions. Sometimes it takes strangers on the internet to help you see things clearly. Stay strong and trust your gut.